Hey class. So today for the discussion, the first question was, how do your social identities about your race, sexual orientation, nationality, religion, ability status affect your ability to be congruent or not in various environments? In what situations is it more challenging to be congruent with your values? I try to be as adaptable in different situations with my social identity. I believe that the most important thing is to respect the differences of others since everybody comes from a different background. And with that being said, the most challenging thing for me is my religion because I'm a Christian. And the most important thing for me is that I'm someone who comes across as someone who always loves and cares to listen to others and offer advice when I'm allowed to. This can be challenging at times because in certain environments, like when I'm driving, someone cuts me off, or when someone is being disrespectful and rude, it would be so much easier for me to disregard my social identity of being someone who values my faith and instead give back to people what they give to me. I do my best in these situations when I take time, breathe, and try to understand how the other person could be going through something. And even though I always try to do the right thing, no one's perfect, and I have grace for myself, understanding that I'm going to make mistakes inevitably, but I'm always trying to be better and do better. I always try to be mindful of how I respond and how I come across to other people. Something from the book that I thought was great was that it said leaders who are inauthentic act in ways where they believe others expect them to act rather than being true to who they already are. And I think this is just kind of that walk the walk, talk the talk. If you're going to say that you value being a certain way, you have to be as consistent as you can, especially when it comes to leadership, because inconsistency will make other people feel not as secure about how you handle situations of stress and where your values and morals go. And then the second part was examining your social media posts over the last few weeks. To what extent does your online presence align with who you really are? What I said was I do not spend a lot of time on social media anymore. I do post occasionally, but I prefer to spend time away from the negativity that also comes with social media. I still do. I use Twitter more recently, posting about business content and interacting with agency owners to be able to create connections. And that's different from how I use my TikTok, where I show songs and music that I'm working on or creating. So that's more of my creative outlet. And then Instagram is different because that's where a lot of my family is going to see the stuff that I'm posting. So whether that's my dog or my significant other, and just giving general life updates, that's typically where it is. But if someone was to look at all of my social medias as a collective, they would see pretty close to how I am. But in general, I wouldn't say that everything about who I am is represented on social media, because it would be almost impossible to show all the positives and negatives of everything, because we only like to show the stuff on social media that's going to get interaction that will typically feed into whatever the ego is. So it's also a good practice to post without expecting and understanding that it's a good way to be able to gauge feedback in that sense. So then the third part was to look at the rubric of the different various dimensions of congruence. And what I found was the first one, cognitive complexity. I felt that I'm achieving in that sense, which is articulates belief system, identifies important problems, questions, and issues relating to personal values, and does not recognize own personal limitations. I wouldn't say I'm excelling in this area, because sometimes I can take on more than I can handle on my own plate. And that's just because I feel like I'm someone who's a bit of an overachiever when it comes to expectations. And sometimes that can limit me as to what I want to be able to get done at certain times. And I can end up taking on too much and experiencing some form of burnout. I'm trying to get better about that. It's something that I'm working on. But yeah. And then the internal belief system, I felt like I'm excelling in that area, and that was defined as feels confident about making educated decisions, strong sense of self ability to tactfully express belief system in the presence of different individuals, authentic, comfortable, acknowledging when a mistake is made. That's pretty much goes back to my personal faith, is that I'm always trying to value the differences of other people, even though I have strong feelings about what it means to be a follower of my faith. It doesn't make anyone else's experience. I don't ever put my experience over anyone else's. So I think that that's something that I feel pretty confident about, is that I'm set up in my beliefs, but not into a way where I'm disrespectful of others' beliefs. And then team membership, I feel that I'm excelling in that area. That was defined as balancing self and groups value identities early on, when group values are unethical or different than one owns, seeks group experiences that align with personal values, able to confront conflicts to better align individual and groups values for all members. In this sense, I'm someone who really enjoys working with groups, and I think that it's a part of human nature is to work with others to find solutions to issues, to push each other, to be able to refine who you are through the challenging, and not just only being someone who's there in all the good times, but also experiencing what it means to go through the different hardships that life brings with others, that ultimately forms even stronger teams that can survive almost anything. And acting congruent, I felt like I'm excelling in that area. It takes on a stand on a beliefs, acts consistently with values, is committed to being genuine, authentic, makes purposeful life decisions. The biggest thing for me is intent, understanding the decisions that I make in my life and what the outcome of what decision I make is going to be, even though I may not always choose the most positive outcome in the moment, and I can get myself into a situation where it might be more difficult for me to go through what I'm going through at the moment. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm thinking long term about my decisions, or thinking in the short term as to how I can better myself from day to day. And the other thing that I thought from the book was really great about this was, generally we can think of authentic leadership as an approach and where the leader has a deep understanding of who he or she is and acts in a way that's congruent with their self-knowledge. And that part of the book, I think, kind of summarizes this section that we've been looking at, is authenticity of the self ultimately creates better leaders that can understand the way that they're feeling, and also has the ability to be able to understand teams and team leadership, and to be able to work better with others, to be able to find a mutually beneficial outcome that will be better for everyone, whether it's in business or in a community or in life in general, in families or anything like that. So yeah, thank you so much.